everybody. Welcome to another amazing episode of The Sovereign Soul. You know me, but you don't know this powerhouse sitting aside me. So I really want to introduce you to one of the recent fascinating people that I've gotten to kind of put my eyes on. I'm really excited about this conversation today. I cannot wait to share her and expose all her wisdom with you. I think you're going to love this conversation. And so without further ado, Cristina, introduce yourself to all of our viewers and our listeners. Tell us about you.
So first of all, thank you so much for having me here. And let's see a few words about who I am and what I'm doing. So I'm a money mindset mentor and a business and soul activator. I've been in this field for the last, I think it's already 5 years.
But I know it goes so fast.
It's been 5 years though. And yeah, I'm working with women only, and particularly with business women that are heart-centered, are soul-driven, are soul-led, and do understand that there has to be a balance between the doing, the strategy, and the bits of energy work and mindset work. And they're very, very attuned also to their spirituality and to their magic. So we are bringing structure to their magic so that they can really, really focus it and boom, really get safety in their heart.
Yes. And it's so good. And you say it absolutely perfectly, because it very much in our worlds, in our coaching worlds, in our energetic worlds, we recognize the quick pivot of the universe once we are in that alignment, in that energetic vibration, in that energetic flow of, oh yeah, here's where I want to be. I had to pivot, I had to shift, I had to change on some level, either the thinking, the vibration, the desire, even, so that I can get to that space. I think one of the most amazing, fascinating conversations I have often with people is this concept of the universe being readily available to us at all times. All of the facets, all of the vibrations, all of the levels, all the aspects of the universe always ready and available to us. And how we don't shift the universe to meet us at our level. We must shift us to meet the universe at the level at which we want to start bringing in the crazy, awesome, wonderful manifestations of our heart, you know? And I love the concept of, you know, showing people, women especially, if I can go there. Sorry, all my gentlemen listeners. I know there are some of you out there, but women specifically, because I feel we are really shifting into a new feminine rebirth that is connecting us at a sacral level to the creativity, to the fire, to the power that we harness, so that we can start showing up and achieving and stepping into the essences of our soul. Do you agree? Do you feel that energy coming too?
Yes, absolutely. We are witnessing a paradigm shift. And I think that it's probably, for sure, the most thrilling time to be a woman on this planet. And we are witnessing still a lot of duality. And I feel that our magic and our power is to look at what it is, and at the same time to know what is coming, and to start tuning into what is coming and allow those downloads, allow that dormant power to be waken up and start moving towards what's always been there, waiting on us and waiting for us, our potential
Absolutely.
To actually.
Yes, it's so good. And I'm sure you're finding in your coaching clients that are coming to you, as am I, there are two types of clients that are emerging right now. It feels like two types of different feminine energy that's emerging right now. The one who has absolutely no conscious understanding of what's going on, I say conscious, meaning they're like trying to logically figure this out, but they can sense that there's something very powerful either coming through them, emerging through them, happening all around them. And they're like, I feel like I'm going to lose my mind. I don't know what that is. And then there's the other side, that woman that is so tuned in, tapped, and turned into it, but does not know or yet see, right? They're like light years ahead of themselves and they can't see, all right, well, what do I do now? What's the step I do right now to get there, to reach that, or to even get closer to it? You know what I mean? So
Mm.
when you have these different energies emerging pretty much with the same purpose, it's the same thing, it's just triggering these women in a different way. How do you tap into them to support them and allow that birthing process of that feminine energy?
That's a beautiful conversation, and I love that you are seeing these two categories. So mainly in my high level containers, direct way, I'm working mainly with a second category that
Mm,
are way ahead of where their physical body is. They
yeah,
are already in other spheres. They know, they sense, they have access to this wisdom, but they have no idea how to structure that and actually how to ground that into the reality. So that's why, if you remember, I said we help women bring structure to their magic. It's exactly that kind of work that I had in mind, because these women are so tuned into the feminine, but very, very disbalanced when it comes to their masculine, right? So
yes,
the way we see it is the masculine is a container that is holding, and it's needed to be holding the feminine in order for the feminine to express itself and do its magic. But the feminine going all over the place is not
yeah,
really productive. So
yeah,
needs also the masculine container. So that's the work in very general terms that we are bringing
absolutely.
for this. Like, we take the magic that's already there, already exists, and then we bring structures to that magic so that they can work with it actively and also anchor it, ground it into the physical reality. So this means, from energetic processes, mindset processes, and also it means like clear strategies when it comes to doing, so that we bring, as we were saying, that masculine anchoring and that masculine holding of it all when it comes to feminine magic. Now, for the women that are more into the doing, so more into their masculine, because they function, we've been functioning, we have to understand this about ourselves. This was before. It used to be in many cultures matriarchy, right? That's the English
Yes,
word.
yes,
So,
yes, it is.
and then there was something that happened. The men
Yes,
decided that needed to control a power that was very scary, which
yes.
was the feminine power. So
Mm-hmm.
then, using force, which is a very physical dimension, right, of control, using force, men started creating this patriarchy in our societies, and women, because of their power and the threat that power was unconsciously being felt by men, unconsciously or consciously, were put under lids.
Yeah.
So we had, in order to thrive, we had to learn how to play based on men's rules. So if we see now, many women are coming from corporate jobs, from the corporate
Yeah.
world, and they are
Yeah.
so wired to compete. They are wired to respect the masculine rules. They are wired for the doing rules, forgetting about their magic. And this just is, the way it's an education, it's a conditioning that
Mm-hmm.
basically puts some blinds, how do you say?
Blinders. Yep. Blinders. Filters. Yeah.
Blinders when it
100%.
comes to our magic and our
Yeah.
our power. So
Yeah.
when it comes to these women, what we need to do if we are in that place, I was one of these women, literally.
Same.
Like I
Very
felt
same.
that there was something calling me. I was feeling it. There was something calling me, but I had worked for all my adult life in a corporate job, so I had no freaking idea how could I ever possibly do something that does good to the world. Like, yeah, cool, that's a good
Yeah.
concept, but what
Yeah.
would that mean? And what would that look like? And
Yeah.
all those, but how? And I just had to have a, going a little bit into my story, I had to have a real kick in the ass in order to follow my heart. And the kick in the ass was, in my case, it was a very fortunate one. I got in love, and my husband to be was not living in the same country as I was living. So we had to make a decision. If we want to be together, we had to make a decision around which is the country that is going to benefit us the most. And we decided that his country, where we currently are, is
Mm-hmm.
better for the start of our journey. So I had to leave everything behind, and I had to find another path, and I had to go through a deep identity crisis. And in that deep identity crisis, as I had a partner that was holding very, very firmly the masculine container, I could find my magic. I could
Yeah.
freely find my magic and lean into being feminine. But before, as I was so conditioned, I was mainly coming from a very masculine paradigm, being competitive, being, very lost into the doing. And guess what? When I started my business, I tried to apply the same recipes, like
Oh,
and do the same things that are
this is
helping us.
so good. So good. You're
Right?
so,
So what do we
yes.
know? What do we know? We know to do, we know to compete, we know to,
Yes.
prove ourselves, we know to show how good we are. And all that is BS in this world. Like
Yes,
in
it
the
is.
best way, the best
No, it
way to
is. In the
is to
feminine
do that.
energy, it is straight bullshit. It's absolutely because you cannot be who you are meant to be in another container when that's not the container to operate from. You've hit the nail on the head a bajillion times and this has only been a 20-minute conversation. This is so spot on and the absolute depth of rebirth. You have to rebirth through a different channel, if you will call it that, a conduit of sorts, from a masculine perspective, allowing the feminine to show you the more attuned to your soul's way of how to emerge and call towards you what it is you desire without having to go out and force it and push it and do, as you said, do in order to achieve the success you want. We all want success. Success is one of those very neutral energies. You can have success masculinely, you can have success femininely. It's just a
Oh
matter
yeah.
of what's best for us. How do we approach it in a way that works in the energy of flow? For women, for spiritual coaches and mentors, for those working with the essence and the energy of the universe as healers, it's going to be feminine. You have to let that pour through you because you're a container, you're a conduit. You're, as I like to call it, I'm Source's mouthpiece. Like I'm Source's mouthpiece. I show up and you come through and that's how we do our thing, But if I'm forcing it, that beautiful energy is diminished or even minimized. And most spiritual mentors and coaches tuned in, tapped and turned on, they don't want that. I want the full force of spirit to be through me, in me, emulating from me, and we've got to allow that to be, at a level that reaches the soul. And I love absolutely everything you say. I resonate deeply with it because I too, was working in a corporate setting where again, it was my dad's company. I mean, it couldn't get any better than that. It was my father's company. And he showed me, I learned the masculine aspect of how to run a business. But I really had to allow myself to have that crisis of, is this a masculine thing for me? Or how do I trust the feminine energy to allow it to help me move forward? Yeah, I resonate with that so much, so much. So When it comes to, oh, I know the answer to this. When it comes to people coming into your energy, right? We bring them in when we coach with them or work alongside of them. When they come into your energy, what are the words you use to say, to describe the feminine in the beingness of it? Like, what does it mean to be in a feminine energy? What does it mean to just be? What the hell does surrender mean? What is that word? I've never heard it before. Patience, that's a concept I've never even allowed myself to sit with. How do you describe those things? Like, what do you give me some juice on all that?
So first of all, I wanted to mention something because I think it's very, very important. And then I will answer your question. You were speaking about this combination of having both the masculine and the feminine. I truly believe that the masculine is needed. Like without the
Absolutely.
masculine, we cannot grow. Without the masculine, we are just floating around, being bubbly, but
Yeah.
we are
Yeah.
not really moving forward. But there is a masculine that is, I would say, it comes from what we were taught, and then there is a masculine that is really helpful. The masculine that comes from what we were taught comes with competition, comes with comparison, comes with I want to be the best, comes with I want to prove myself and show how great I am.
Strong I
This
am. Yeah.
the unproductive masculine. And then there is the masculine that we can and should be bringing into our businesses. That is the masculine of I am focused. I'm creating these structures. I'm creating this discipline for myself. I'm creating these rules. I'm creating these non-negotiables. I'm creating these containers. So this is the masculine that we want to bring more of. Now, once we understand this, we also can summon more our feminine, and more of our feminine is just literally allowing ourselves to go back home, allowing ourselves to just be, allowing ourselves to just feel, allowing ourselves to allow with and nothing to do and just receive whatever is receiving, allowing ourselves to feel pleasure, allowing ourselves to go after pleasure and focus on that, allow ourselves to trust. I do not really like the word surrender. You mentioned it because it sometimes it can be misinterpreted like in a very passive way by people, like, I don't know, I
Yes.
just surrendered.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
For me, I like to say trust instead of surrender. And for me, also trust is an active thing. Like I am trusting, it's like beyond reality. It's done, it's beyond time, it's already created, it's already done. And then I'm tuning into my feminine and I'm seeing and feeling into what is coming through, like what would excite me, what would I like to share. So it's like a receiving and also giving, and then the growth becomes this beautiful dance between the feminine, like I'm receiving, I'm having these ideas, I'm having this inner guidance, I'm getting this wisdom, I'm getting these downloads. This is the feminine, right? That is just
Yep.
receiving, being still in her stillness and receives. And then there is the forward, the feminine, the feminine energy is just leaning back and receiving, right? And then there is dance with, then you go into the masculine and it's like, oh my god, I feel so excited, I'm going after that, I'm doing this thing that just I just
Yeah.
receive, I'm following this intuition, I'm following through with my word. So this beautiful dance between the feminine, I'm leaning back, I'm receiving, and I'm fully open to, without being judgmental, without putting filters, without putting expectations, I'm just receiving what is for me to receive right now, and then leaning forward in the masculine, like now I'm doing I'm
Yes.
doing, and I'm taking action based on what I received,
A
not on
hundred
what
percent.
others are telling me, on what I'm seeing others that are being successful with, on the rules that I just created for myself based on looking outside of myself. I'm taking action based on what I received while being in feminine. This
And
is
it's so good. It's so good because what my guides show me as you're talking is kind of like you have to build a house. You have to
Yes,
build a
absolutely.
house. If you don't build the proper house with the proper foundation to weather the crazy outside influence and expectations, opinions, and all the things that come with physical experience, if you don't build your house with that, steady, firm foundation, that
Yeah.
feminine energy that's meant to live inside that house just leaks right out. It isn't as firm in its receiving. When we're talking feminine energy, it can be elusive sometimes if we don't have those boundaries, physical and
Mhm.
energetic, up to really allow us to be that container for that precious energy. We really want all of it. We want it to be bold. We want it to be loud because it really does speak to us through our intuition and all of the magnificent downloads that we get, right? Well, we want to feel that. Safe is a word I want to use only for the way that it looks, not so much the way that it feels, because we're always safe. That's always something that we are. But you want that space, knowing I've set firm boundaries in that masculine energy to allow that feminine to just do with me what it will. Show me all the things it needs to be. It's my space to breathe and let go. And as you say, trust, maneuver, feel it out, see it through, trust, maneuver, feel it out, see it through in the confines of stable, structured, protected energy. It's so good. And
Mhm.
I think that right there is the whole conversation of how we rebirth in a new energy. How do I stop and look at where I'm at right now? How do I gain insight on what's not working and what I have to let go of? What is working, what I need to be, consistently bringing in, and how do I up level? There's so much up leveling. We see it in our physical world. Some are identifying it in different ways, but we're seeing a lot of transformation happening right now. And it's going to require that we rebirth in a new energy. We can't keep up with the way that it was going. We don't want to. Hence the up leveling of feminine energy to come through and go, all right, we need lots of healing here. Let's help you out here with the nurturing energy that needs to be achieved or even just felt, with the collective. But
Yeah.
rebirthing us is, even bringing in new chapters. I love what you said because you went through that. I think we go through rebirthing. Do you agree? Like, probably as healers and as coaches, every hour on the hour, we're rebirthing new energy. But for you, I feel like falling in love, allowing that to come into you and be something that you, um, how do I want to say that?
Allowing myself to
Manifest.
be.
Yeah, allowing yourself to manifest that. And because sometimes love can look scary to people, love can
Mhm.
look intimidating to people because some aren't open in that worthiness, right? And so when we allow that precious gift to come through, it is something that in and of itself requires like that new birth of owning this new thing and owning this new venture, this new chapter, this new beauty aspect to the physical experience. um how do you, let me see, when we talk about the sovereign soul on the podcast, I ask the questions differently to every guest, but talk to me
Mhm.
about what your definition or how you identify with sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Sovereignty for me is basically the right to be who you are in the way that you decide for yourself,
Yeah.
and then stay in integrity with that knowing of who you are and what your desires are. This is sovereignty. And I feel that our sovereignty is being challenged very often, and in ways that we do not even realize, like especially from people that we love, that are asking us different things in terms
Mm-hmm.
of I need you to do this or to be this person, or I need you to be this person so that I feel better. They are never telling
Yeah.
it, or mostly not in these words. But I feel that the bigger challenges to our sovereignty always come from our closest relationships. Either because they are being asked, we are asked directly to trespass our wishes and our desires around who we are and how we want to live our life, or because we project our own ideas on others and imagine that they want this or that from us, and then we try to conform to that even before the ask was asked.
So it's a protection mechanism. We want to protect it. I don't want to fail. I don't want to look stupid, so I'm going to make sure I'm where they want me to be so they can't, negatively say something that will throw me off alignment or something. It's a protection mechanism. But I love this because back to what we spoke about like holding that masculine container in the proper way, creating that firm foundation for yourself. You can see the sovereignty of your soul. You can touch, that power that exists by birthright within you, and it will show you what still needs to be seen, what still needs to be healed, what work still needs to be done so that you can expand as your soul requested coming into the earth experience. Expansion was on the horizon. That's how we were going to do it the quickest and the best and the most painful. But it was us being able to really remember that sovereignty. It's a back to home, as you say. I can go back to home now with all of the proper, masculine boundaries and protection up. I can go back and see my soul. I can go back and view it, touch it, taste it, and really allow it to show me more. Oh, I love your definition of it. It's so good.
There is also one point here that I think that it's our responsibility to make, and that is sovereignty can be defended and preserved only through boundaries. And this is a very tricky conversation for most people because they understand boundaries like almost punishment towards others. And for me, boundaries is love. Boundaries is love for who we are and also love for our relationships, because there cannot be any love in a relationship where we feel that our sovereignty or our desires are being are not being respected, are not being honored. So any kind of relationship that bears our resentment, at least, if not also a general resentment on both sides, is not a loving relationship. That's why for me, boundaries come as a sign of love and as a defender of love, because we can only grow when we have these clear structures around us that are protecting what we are available for, so that we can give our all and we show up as our best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at boundaries as the tough love, right? It's still love, but it's that tough skin that we want to put around that gentle, soft spot within that allows us to flow in and out all day long of the energies that we are coming into. We do want to show up in our whole self in as much of our soul essence as possible. But if we don't have those boundaries, it can quickly be robbed. It can be taken from us. People suck off that power that we are working so hard to build, right? That light within us, we build it as light workers. If we don't have that tough love, the boundary around it could very easily be dimmed. And that's not what we want. We want to own our personal power. Boundaries are absolutely key. I agree with you a million times over. Boundaries are so big. We definitely want to defend that sovereignty and have these, I think it's expectations too. I mean, we teach people how to treat us, right? We show up all day long and we teach people how to treat us. And these boundaries, go ahead.
We cannot expect others to treat us differently than we treat ourselves.
Bingo.
This is basically how it goes. We need to treat ourselves in a way that we would like others to treat us. But the real, honest situation is that as women, we were also educated that it is so noble to sacrifice ourselves and to give. And we've been so conditioned and brainwashed with that we feel bad when we first of all, when we put boundaries in place, and we treat ourselves so much worse than what we accept always. So if we see that we are not really, in a relationship where we feel honored or we feel treated the way we want, that is also a reflection or a mirror or a, a sign that a reminder more that actually I'm treating myself much worse than in
Yeah.
this relationship I'm being treated. And that is like an exclamation sign. God, something needs to change first within myself, in my relationship with myself. And that's where the
Mhm.
boundaries are.
Yes, 100%. Because we're confusing that nurturing energy. The nurturing energy we want to show up in is us in our essence, freely flowing in the feminine energy to show up and support others, not the nurturing energy that says, all right, I'm going to put me on the back burner of the stove and let you be what's cooking on in the pot. That can't be it. And it's a hard conversation. You're absolutely right. It's a very hard conversation because that gets as close as our kids. I have 4 beautiful children, but if I put them first all the time, there's no Jackie time, you know? And then there's less of me to go around to these beautiful energies who did show up knowing that I would get that and put me first, show them then how to put them first so that they're nurturing at a soul self level first. And then they're showing up for everyone around them, where they feel guided, where they feel necessary, right? To support. It's such a big, big teaching module, if you will, for clients, for, siblings, for parents, for spouses, and definitely for children. Definitely for children.
We have such a responsibility because in the end we are modeling for them how to be in
Yep.
this world. So
Yeah.
as mothers, the responsibility is even bigger.
Yes, big time, big time. Uh, I am so, so grateful. I knew this conversation was going to be absolutely epic, but I'm so grateful for your time. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and your guidance and your insight with all of us. You've blessed so many lives today. I can tell you that. I can't wait for people to experience you more fully. They've got links in the show notes to everything that is Cristina Bold. You're going to find Instagram, all her shareable things. Reach out to her. Tell her how much you loved this show, and even get in her DMs for consultation or whatever it is that you do to help them expose and expand their magic. Oh my gosh, it's going to be so good. Thank you again for joining us today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline. It was a wonderful